There is mass chaos at the Centers for Disease Control this morning after an overnight purge left the CDC without top officials in key roles. And the reason why for this purge was, well, because they were too pro vaccine. According to latest reporting from the Washington Post and others, RFK Jr. and Donald Trump pushed out CDC Director Susan Monreyes, who was confirmed 51-47 just last month. Now, she's currently resisting efforts by the Trump administration to oust her. The Department of Health and Human Services announced her removal without explanation, but Monarez's lawyers insist that she has not resigned nor officially been terminated, and her lawyers claim that she is being targeted for refusing to endorse unscientific policies, particularly related to pro-vaccine messaging. RFK Jr. was labeled, quote, dangerous by Senate leaders, including Patty Murray, for driving conspiracy theories. Former CDC Director Dr. Mandy Cohen warned that the turmoil is weakening the agency and leaving the United States more vulnerable. And the ousting has sparked major resignations, including at least 3 senior CDC leaders, including the chief medical officer, chief CDC leader in the vaccine unit, and elsewhere. One of them, Dr. Dimitri Deskalakis, who is the head of the National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases, resigned in protest, citing the, quote, weaponization of public health. Folks, this is a very serious development. Right now, there is mass chaos within America's public health apparatus. Why? Well, because they're being pushed out. And they're being pushed out because they have a pro-vaccine view. They want RFK Jr. and the Trump administration wants to actively move, or rather move away from COVID-19 vaccines. They've been trying to deregulate them, trying to limit the people who can get them. Children can no longer get them despite unless there are extenuating circumstances, etc. And now they're pushing out the leaders in these medical units and these medical groups that support vaccine efforts. And so many are saying this is a massive attack on public health. Now, before I continue, please consider subscribing to support my work or sending a one-time donation via Venmo to Aaron-Parnas. This morning, we're learning that the Trump administration is moving closer to deploying the National Guard to Chicago, or really deputizing the military against American citizens in Chicago. According to the Associated Press, the Trump administration has reached out to Naval Station Great Lakes, which is a military base about 35 miles north of Chicago, for logistical support in immigration operations, including facilities and infrastructure, as part of its broader crackdown beyond Washington, D.C. No final decision has been made so far, but the move does signal a threatening expansion of military use on U.S. soil moving towards Chicago. We know that the Pentagon has been planning to do this for a long time. For several weeks now, they've been planning to put American troops on the ground outside of Washington, D.C., and it's going to happen. It's going to happen in Chicago soon, and now they're preparing for it by reaching out to a naval base about 35 miles north of Chicago to support this effort. Meanwhile, some trouble for the Trump administration. Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook has filed a lawsuit this morning alleging that Donald Trump, describing what she says is an unprecedented and illegal effort to remove her from office by Donald Trump. Cook was appointed to the Fed by President Biden. She's urging and arguing that the Trump administration's attempt to fire her undermines the central bank's independence and violates established protections for Federal Reserve officials. Meanwhile, Japan's top trade negotiator canceled a planned U.S. trip after unresolved issues required further talks, with Japan urging tariff changes on automobiles, while Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said that an update on the trade relationship is expected to come later this week. A federal judge blocked the Trump administration from deporting Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the man who was wrongfully deported to El Salvador previously. He can now not be removed until at least October as his asylum case proceeds. More than 2,200 National Guard troops have now been deployed in Washington, D.C. under Trump's crime emergency, but instead of helping police and law enforcement efforts, we're now learning that they're focusing on clearing homeless camps, patrolling Union Station, and even raking leaves and mulching cherry trees, raising concerns about the militarization of civilian spaces. Attorney General Bondi announced that federal law enforcement made 105 arrests in Washington, D.C. overnight, seizing 12 illegal firearms, bringing the total number of arrests since August 7, 3 weeks ago, to 1,283. And D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser credited Donald Trump's surge of federal law enforcement personnel for lowering crime rates, but said that the presence of immigration agents and National Guard troops was simply not working. And just yesterday, we learned that a federal grand jury actually declined to indict a former Justice Department employee who was seen on camera hurling a salami sub at the chest of a law enforcement officer. Meanwhile, the Trump administration has appointed a conservative election researcher whose faulty analysis of election data was cited by Donald Trump as he tried to overturn the 2020 election. She is now one of the leading election integrity experts at the Department of Homeland Security. Alligator Alcatraz will be emptied and shut down in the next several days. A Georgia judge fined the Fulton County Commission $10,000 a day for refusing to appoint 2 Republican election board nominees tied to election denialism, ruling the Democrats must comply with county charter despite their objections over voter suppression and conspiracy ties. And finally, overnight Russian missile and drone attacks on Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, killed at least 18 people, including 4 children, in the deadliest night since the summit between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in Alaska. Folks, that's all the news right now. If you want to support my work, make sure to subscribe today, and I'll see you this evening. Hey folks, Aaron Parnas here. Thank you so much for watching The Parnas Perspective. Please consider subscribing to support our work as we grow this independent news media entity into something that rivals mainstream every single day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.